Hey guys, welcome back to Anime Gossips. This is my recap for the anime Solo Leveling. The story begins with a battle 3 years ago in the midst of the oceans. The captain of the Navy boat on patrol says their weapons can't cause any damage to the mysterious being they were attacking. Meanwhile, low-level hunters came around to fight back, but they were defeated. Considering the current situation, S-rank hunters came to their rescue. First, it was Byung-gu, an S-rank healer. He was able to rescue the leader of the low-level squad. Before he was done, another monster aimed at him from behind, but his other comrade came to his rescue. They fought the monster bit by bit as they showed forth according to their level of might, while Byung-gu looked after the wounded. Over 10 years ago, a series of gates began appearing in the human world. The other side of these gates is filled with monster creatures called magic beasts. These beasts are immune to conventional weaponry. Those who are capable of fighting back are the ones who have awakened their abilities, and they are called hunters. These hunters are ranked from S to E rank. These rankings are based on the amount of magical power contained in their bodies. However, once these powers have awakened, no amount of individual effort can ever result in greater strength. To the present day, at the Hunter's Park, it's another day for raiding either a dungeon or a cave. It's called a raid outing, and every hunter is all set and present. Mr. Park, a friend of Mr. Kim who quit hunting after his wife got pregnant with their second kid, resumes that day. Kim is surprised to see Mr. Park. Jinwoo also walks in, and everyone greets him. Even Kim says hello to him, which baffles his friend. Kim explains to him that he joined up after he quit. Jinwoo is the weakest hunter of all mankind because an ordinary trip through an E-rank gate landed him in the hospital. Kim never wanted him to overhear his discussion with his friend, but Jinwoo already heard them. On his way, a girl named Joohee interrupted his walk. She was concerned about the wound on Jinwoo's face and advised him to be more careful. They both went to a settled environment to discuss the E-rank gate raid that led him to the hospital. Jinwoo accepted that he is weak. He also told Joohee that he's used to it so that she won't be worried about him all the time. The raid outing leader convenes everyone in one place for better access and introduction. He introduced himself as Song Chio, the most skilled in the squad. The gate opened for everyone to go in. As Jinwoo was about to head in, Kim tapped him from behind and warned him to be careful so he won't get injured again. Joohee left for the raid, and she promised to give it her best. Jinwoo also wants to give it his best, but he only had a knife with him, a knife with no magical power, though that's what he could afford. With that knife, he enters the gate confidently, promising himself to be impressive at the raid outing. Elsewhere, Chairman Go just finished a meeting with the administrators. Their talking point is their usual discussion. For hunters, breaking dungeons poses problems, but the administration wants the valuable items obtained from the beasts in the dungeon. The only valuable items they obtained are shining silver stones. Chairman Go finds their demand logically sensible because the only means for hunters to make a living is by selling those items retrieved from the dungeons they raid. Jinwoo fights impressively in the raid outing, and he's able to obtain one precious silver stone. He is surprised to see his achievement, but suddenly he is attacked from behind. He fights the beast back, but his low-level knife cracks and breaks. Mr. Park comes to his rescue, but before then, he has been injured. Joohee rushes towards his direction to heal him with her healing ability. We then learn that the items retrieved from high-ranked beasts in the dungeons can be turned into powerful weapons and gear to fight other beasts. As noticed by Chairman Go, mana crystals that can be collected from the dungeons have a similar application, but are less potent, clearly stating that the government's interest in the item is for a different use. The governments are working on a way to generate electricity using essence stones and mana crystals. They want to make it a new power source. These items are safer than nuclear, more efficient than water, wind, or geothermal, and they also don't pollute the atmosphere like fossil fuels. This method is a rare fuel source that only hunters are able to collect. Chairman Go explained to his companion that the duty that now rests on the hunter's shoulders is a great one, and they need to get themselves prepared. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, the hunters celebrate after defeating the dungeon boss while Jinwoo is still receiving treatment from Joohee. Joohee was worried about Jinwoo. She wanted him to leave the life of a hunter because if not, something worse might happen. Jinwoo feels sorry and tries to apologize, but she refuses and advises him to quit the life of a hunter. She tries to make him know that she's worried about him. The leader of the raid, Mr. Song, discusses with the squad to collect their loot. Mr. Park was told by other hunters that there's not much mana crystals in that dungeon, which symbolizes low earnings for them. Jinwoo has already lost his hope because all he could show for his work is an E-rank essence stone. While he was thinking, one of the hunters calls the attention of others to a cave. The cave seems deep and far. Mr. Song was concerned to see a dungeon inside a dungeon. Seeing a double dungeon could lead to more loot for the hunters, but Mr. Song wants to follow the procedure, which is to wait for the decision of the Hunter Association. Mr. Park disagrees and suggests that they go inside since it's a D-rank dungeon. His friend Kim supports him. Mr. Song explains to them that he understands how they feel, but if they bend the rules, they need to know that it'll be a risk. Therefore, they should vote to know the opinions. They cast the vote, and the result was awful, with 6 against 6. The only hunter left to cast his vote is Jinwoo. He was asked his opinion, and then he thinks widely to know the best choice for him. His focus is the money he is going to earn, and it's because of his missing dad. He is the only one who is supporting his family. He needs money for his mother's treatment and to send his sister to college. He had no choice but to accept the challenge, even though a D-rank dungeon is dangerous for him. Elsewhere, the guild house responsible for accessing hunters is in need of high-ranked hunters. Some hunters were allowed access. 1 B-rank and 2 C-rank hunters agreed to sign the contract. Guildmaster Choi is the head of the guild house, and he was contacted with the results of the assessment. Initially, the guild is in search of someone to match Joohee, but no one could be compared to her. Joohee is an S-rank hunter with high skills and strength. 2 men on a bike grab a lady's bag and snatch it from her. She shouts for help, but no one can rescue her. Suddenly, the 2 men on the bike spot a girl in front of them. They decide to run over her, but skillfully she collects the bag from the 2 men without any harm. She returns it to the lady. However, the citizens have heard news about her good deed and her skills, and they recognize her to be Joohee. Many come close to her, but she is a shy type and someone who doesn't want to be praised. She jumps in the air from one roof to another to escape the crowd. Back in the dungeon, the hunters spent 40 minutes in the second dungeon finding the actual boss, but they didn't come across anything challenging. The gate is programmed to close until an hour after the boss is beaten. Clearly, they have 20 minutes to spare. Jinwoo apologizes to Joohee because he knows his decision caused them to raid the double dungeon. Joohee was calm for a moment, but Jinwoo kept pestering her with questions. She made it clear to Jinwoo that if he had been stabbed even just a little higher, then he wouldn't be alive. She was barely able to heal his arms and legs. Jinwoo had a thought about what Joohee said. Having a B-rank healer with him has saved his life more than once. Jinwoo admitted the accusation, and Joohee requested that Jinwoo show her some gratitude. After a long walk through the cave, the hunters locate the boss chamber. Its entrance is mighty and tall, kind of intimidating to the hunters. Kim and his friend were happy with the thought that they wouldn't be going back home empty-handed, so they moved close to the gate and called Mr. Song to open the gate. Back in the city, the Hunters Association chairman, Joohee, addresses the newly awakened who have just signed the contract of a hunter. He told them that it's been 10 years since the gate appeared, but there's still a great deal they don't know about those dungeons. He encouraged them not to let their guards down, not to be arrogant or careless. He also tells them to be afraid. Back in the dungeon, the hunters enter the chamber with confidence and bravery. As the gate is being opened, the chamber begins to light up itself, being the first thing that marvels them. The chamber is filled with huge statues. They look so old, some have instruments and are stagnant. Jinwoo stands in front of a larger statue to take a glance, but he notices the statue is more massive than the others in the chamber, and its appearance dominates the space. The hunters could not find any beasts in the chamber, but they come across strange things like a magic circle and a written ancient script. The ancient script contains the commandments of the Kartanan temple. Mr. Song steps forward to recite the commandments. As he reaches the third point, Joohee taps Jinwoo to notify him about a strange movement of the statue. She noticed that the huge statue's eyeball was moving and watching them. She sounded scared and afraid. Mr. Song finished reading the laws. The last part states that those who don't follow the laws will not leave alive. Immediately after that sentence, the door shut itself. They wondered about the cause, but one of them, out of impatience, angrily walked towards the gate to leave, only to be slaughtered by the statue standing beside the gate. After the slaughter, they all trembled, and Jinwoo began to think. He knows that the guy who just got eliminated by the statue is a D-rank hunter, which is more powerful than him, but he got eliminated, indicating that the chamber is tougher than they think. He looked back to check the huge statue, then he got shocked when it looked right back at him. Instantly, he remembered his life story. Jinwoo has stood on the precipice of death many times before. In his first raid ever, he got separated from everyone else and ended up being stranded. He has also been attacked by an E-rank beast which made him spend weeks in the hospital. He almost starved to death in a labyrinth. No matter how low ranked the dungeons are, he always fights for his life. Most hunters were able to buy gear with the money they earned from selling essence stones so they could defeat more beasts and earn more rewards, but as for him, all he could afford was a cheap knife that could crack at any point in time. Jinwoo has endured being mocked and put up with a life-threatening job where the risk outweighs the reward. But amidst all this, he has learned to keep his eyes wide open for any opportunity, which leads him to the experiences he had. Since he knew what was about to happen, he warned other hunters to get down while the huge statue fired a powerful beam at them, causing massive destruction. The hunters are horrified and can't believe what is happening there. Jinwoo thinks that they are trapped there and realizes they are all going to die. Meanwhile, paralyzed in fear, his comrades ask each other what to do upon witnessing the traumatizing scene of their 2 team members. Mr. Song warns everyone not to move, or the statue will launch another attack. Jinwoo tries to talk to Joohee, who is too traumatized to move by what she just saw. Mr. Song asks Jinwoo how he knows that the statue is about to attack them, but he replies that it was by instinct. While talking, he becomes really shocked when he notices that Mr. Song lost an arm due to the statue's attack. Jinwoo helps him stop bleeding because Joohee was traumatized by the scene and can't handle the pressure. That is the reason she only joins simple raids, despite being a B-rank healer. As Mr. Song also reveals about participating in B-rank, he estimates the statue to be around an S rank compared to his past experiences as a hunter. Elsewhere, Jinwoo's sister, Sung Jinna, is attending school where she is asked by her friend to confirm that her brother is a hunter. She replies that he is only an E rank and always comes back with injuries. She asks her friend about the reason for asking this, but her friend does not state any reason. Back in the dungeon, Mr. Song and Jinwoo conceive of what to do and decide to look for an exit. Another member of their team is annoyed by their current situation, as he has already signed his contract with a big association. Confident in his insane speed, he believes he can get away from there. Utilizing his amazing speed, he takes off running. But he gets turned into nothing in the blink of an eye by the giant statue's light beam, leaving only his 2 feet behind. The statue can eliminate everyone whenever it wants to, but Jinwoo wonders why it has not attacked them. Despite his fear, he remains composed and thinks of the statue's behavior as different from other monsters. Suddenly, he remembers the commandment and asks Mr. Song what the first commandment was. Mr. Song tells Jinwoo that the first rule is to revere the god. Jinwoo forms a theory and decides to test the statue upon being reminded that it is to revere the god, realizing that the god it is referring to is the giant statue. Mr. Song initially thinks Jinwoo has decided to give up his life, but when he sees Jinwoo's eyes, he understands that Jinwoo has not given up on his life. Jinwoo stands up, and the statue prepares to attack, but he bows down immediately and the statue stops the attack. Seeing that his thoughts are correct, he yells at the other survivors to bow their heads to the statue, and explains that revering the god means that as long as they keep their heads low, it won't attack. Upon everyone agreeing and kneeling before the statue, the giant statue's expression soon shifts to a terrifying face, as if it were enjoying the situation. Seeing this in fear, Park stands up and is relieved to see that the statue remains motionless and does not attack anymore. Believing it is over, the rest of the party stands up, thinking that they can go back alive. They become shocked to see the statue begin to move and start walking towards them. Jinwoo tells them that the second commandment is to praise the god. Everyone wonders how they can do this, but then one of the members says that he is conducting research on traditional ethnology and is great at praying. He volunteers himself to pray in front of the incoming statue and starts praying loudly. However, Jinwoo thinks that the guy's prayer doesn't apply to this god. The statue smiles terrifyingly and crushes the man under its feet. Paralyzed in fear, another member of the party is too traumatized, leaving her as another victim for the statue. Mr. Song asks everyone to spread out because being in one place is dangerous for everyone. Everyone starts scattering, and Jinwoo grabs Joohee's hand, starting to run. Park thinks about his wife and son as he runs toward a statue holding a weapon. Kim sees the statue behind Park moving and tries to warn him that the statue behind him is about to attack, but it is too late to react as Park is brutally chopped in half by the statue's sword. Jinwoo observes the situation while learning and soon figures out, ordering the survivors to run to the statues holding instruments instead of weapons, as statues with weapons attack whoever goes near them. Kim sees that Jinwoo is right as he rests and breaks down in tears while sitting in front of the statue, and then the statue starts to play music. Jinwoo and Joohee reach the statue, but it does not play the instrument. Jinwoo realizes that the statue will not activate if 2 people are standing nearby. He leaves Joohee near the statue and starts running for another statue holding instruments. However, Jinwoo's speed is too slow and leads him to be nearly crushed by the giant statue's foot, but he accidentally rolls to a statue that holds a shield. The statue attacks him with its shield, but Jinwoo still survives and crawls to a statue holding an instrument, barely managing to activate it to play music. This causes the giant statue to stop pursuing him and get back to sit on his throne, as well as reverting back to his previous expression. Joohee runs towards Jinwoo and asks if he is okay, but she gets scared by seeing Jinwoo's leg as he lost a leg. Despite this, she tries hard to heal his leg but couldn't heal it. As the rest of the party members who survived reunite with Jinwoo, Kim apologizes to Mr. Song about his arm, but he says that it's his karma because he made a hasty decision and put everyone's life in danger. Jinwoo sees them and thinks that this is not the time for arguing as there is still one commandment left. Just then, the giant statue made an altar at the center of the room. Jinwoo explains that it's an altar, and in mythology, they offer treasure and sacrifices to the gods. Kim grabs his sword and threatens Mr. Song, reminding him that he holds responsibility for the lives of their dead comrades. Mr. Song decides to sacrifice himself and walks towards the altar. Jinwoo thinks that Mr. Song is not the only one at fault because everyone voted before coming here. When Mr. Song reaches the altar, a flame appears. Mr. Song asks Jinwoo if there is anything else he needs to do. Jinwoo asks two of the other survivors to help him walk to the altar to examine it. They hesitate, but Jinwoo assures them that nothing will happen if they go near the altar. When they reach the altar, 3 more flames start to appear in a circle. Jinwoo wonders if someone will rescue them if they wait there, but Mr. Song replies that today is the 7th day since the dungeon was created, and they will be eliminated by the statue before someone comes to rescue them. Jinwoo recalls how a gate becomes fully open after 7 days, and a dungeon break occurs, causing monsters to come to the human world through the gate. To prevent that from happening, hunters need to defeat the dungeon boss before 7 days. So, if Jinwoo and others fail, the giant statue god will run wild in the human world. Meanwhile, in the human world, Jinna is seen visiting her unconscious mother and informing her about her results at school. Back at the dungeon, Jinwoo asks the other two to also join them at the altar, and when they reach the altar, 2 more flames appear in a circle. Surrounding them, blue flames start to appear and the dungeon's door opens up. Suddenly, the small statues start moving towards them. Jinwoo soon realizes something and tells everyone not to close their eyes, as the statues don't move if they are being watched. Everyone keeps their eyes on the statues, and they stop moving. Suddenly, a woman becomes terrified and runs towards the door. As soon as she crosses the circle, the orange flame goes out, but she manages to run outside the room. Jinwoo realizes that the door is a trap, as the last commandment is to believe in God. It is a false hope to overcome, as it is a test to prove their faith. Despite Jinwoo's instruction for them not to leave, the person who is holding Jinwoo tosses him down and leaves in fear. After he leaves, the door starts closing a little. Afterwards, Kim says that he has a family waiting for him, and while crying, he also leaves through the door. Now only Joohee, Mr. Song, and Jinwoo are left. Mr. Song asks Jinwoo and Joohee to leave too, but Joohee says that her legs are not moving and learns that it is because she used too much of her magic. Jinwoo hands the essence stone that he got earlier to Joohee and tells her to buy food, as he promised her earlier that he will take her out for dinner. Joohee asks him in tears how he can still be joking, but Mr. Song apologizes and knocks her out as they are out of time. Mr. Song takes Joohee with him and leaves from there. Jinwoo grabs the sword that Kim left behind and thinks about his unfortunate desire to become stronger like others. One of the statues launches his weapon at Jinwoo but misses. Jinwoo is soon attacked by the other statues as his screams echo in the dungeon. Jinwoo leans against the altar and attempts to scream but is stabbed by a statue's spear. He becomes angry and thinks about others as they say they couldn't take any more. But Jinwoo says that he also felt the same way. All they are doing is justifying their own selfishness, as it's always the most selfish people who benefit the most. Jinwoo gets more furious as he has a family too, and he also wants to make it home alive. He is lifted in the air and thrown onto the altar. Jinwoo begins to wonder if it's really good that he's the only one who has to die. As his tattered body lies on the altar, he thinks about how he could have thought that way and called himself a stupid hypocrite. In the end, he thinks that he doesn't want to die. As the statue raises its sword and starts to attack him, Jinwoo wishes if he could have one more chance. A last blue flame goes out, but a mysterious notification appears in Jinwoo's mind, revealing that a secret quest, Courage of the Weak, has been completed. He has acquired the qualifications to be a player and is asked to accept it. His heart will stop in milliseconds if he chooses not to accept, and the button saying yes is pressed. And that's the end of the video. Please comment and let me know which anime recap you'd like to see next. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.